Pokemon Johto. Everybody wants to be a master. Everybody wants to show their skills. Everybody wants to get there faster. Make their way to the top of the hill. Each time you try, gonna get just a little bit better. Each step you climb's one more step up the ladder. It's a whole new world we live in. It's a whole new way to see. It's a whole new place with a brand new attitude, but you still gotta catch 'em all. Be the best that you can be. Do-do, do-do-do-do, Pokemon Johto. Do-do-do-do. You get the fucking idea. Alright, welcome back to another episode. This is EmiNES. We're talking Pokemon fucking Crystal today. I didn't play Gold and Silver this time, but it's very similar game there. So yeah, we're talking the best Pokemon game maybe ever. Like, I don't know, like, it's certainly one of my favorite Pokemon games, if not just my personal favorite Pokemon game and region, I guess. I mean, the Kanto is great. They've remade it like so many times, and but Johto is just magical. They did remake that, obviously, and I would be down for a Let's Go Johto at some point. That would be really cool. I don't think it's gonna happen, but anything. I'll take anything at this point. A new Legends game. It seems like they only do the regions they perceive to be the worst regions for Legends. I love Kalos, but I mean, a lot of people don't love Kalos anymore, so I feel like that's why they did that as a region, or just for the sheer fact that we never got Pokemon X. Anyway, a Johto Legends game would be fucking awesome too. Hopefully they do that one day. Point being, Johto was an infinitely, like, amazing, like, it improved and solidified Pokemon as a big thing. There was problems with the first game. This fixed a lot of them. Kind of made more problems with more HMs or whatever, but, you know, it was totally a big step forward for Pokemon. There were so many great new things. There was 100 new Pokemon. You know, you still gotta catch them all. Pokemon Johto, you know, you had Crystal version, which was like the definitive version. The first time you could officially be a different, like, you know, you were always male in the first games, and then you could be a girl in the Crystal game, which is great. I mean, that's a huge step forward right there. So, yeah, it's great. You know, Ho-Oh, Lugia, all the new Pokemon, for the most part, are great. They made baby Pokemon. They made breeding. Breeding's a new thing. That's awesome. Who doesn't love that? Makes it a lot fucking easier to get all the evolutions and every other fucking stupid thing that was so hard to get in the first game. A lot of that is fixed with breeding. And the new region is just great, you know? It expands upon what was so great about the original region. I mean, you can't beat Kanto. It's so great, but Johto is also pretty classic, you know? You got even have branching paths at one point, kind of like the Kanto game there. And you even get to go back to Kanto, which is great. It's a very scaled down journey compared to the original, but there's so many trainers there. It's like basically you're trying to run through all the shit you did in the original Pokemon game without, like, all the side events and whatever. All those trainers are basically in the same spot, plus more trainers. And you're trying to, like, do all of that in, like, 10 hours or something. Like, not even that. It was probably, like, 5 or 6 hours. It just, like, really compacts it down, you know? I think I spent, like, 2 sittings in Johto, and not even, or Kanto, and not even, like, big play sessions. Just, like, well, 3 technically. Well, no, because that's in Johto. So, anyway. You get to go back and fight all the gym leaders again. A couple of them are changed. Blue is a gym leader this time, which is great. He uses kind of a similar team to what he did in the original. Of course, the epic battle at the end with Red. I would have had this review done like a couple days ago if it wasn't for that. I remember back in the day, man, like fucking grinding hardcore in like high school to beat Red, because I'd never beaten the game at that point. I'd gotten, I think, all the way to Red when I was a kid, and then I just never beat him because he was so difficult. But then I went back in high school and finally fucking beat him. I was like really sick when I was like grinding it out and shit, and he's still really difficult. Like his Blastoise knows Blizzard, so you fucking try to send out a Leaf Pokemon like I did, and you're just screwed, you know? And so you have to get creative. The way I finally won was I gave Zapkin to my Espeon, and then I gave Giga Drain to my Lugia there, and it finally kind of did the trick. So yeah, so that was good. Select items is great. That way you can just put a item on fucking select and you don't have to like goddamn like go into the menu and use all of that. Context sensitive like cut and like surf and stuff. I don't remember. I think some of that was in the first game, but I know you definitely had to like go into the menu and go to the Pokemon to use cut. The overabundance of more HMs was kind of a pain in the ass, but luckily I was training 2 water Pokemon, but I didn't give them those moves. I just gave them Surf. I gave the Whirlpool and the Waterfall to like a Psyduck that I would carry along with me when I needed those moves. I think you can't even get Lugia until like way late in the game, until at least when you're in Kanto. You have to go to Pewter City to get the Silver Wing. But yeah, and apparently Ho-Oh in this version, in Crystal, you have to catch all the legendary dogs first, which is just like a big pain in the fucking ass, and I didn't do any of that shit. You know, in Gold, you just go and catch him, which is great. I do really love Gold. That's the version that I got. I've told the story before in my Christmas episode there, but yeah, so like there was one Christmas, and I was a big Pokemon fan at this point. You know, I had the Game Boy Color here that came out around the same time, like slightly before, I believe, the Gold and Silver games. So by the time those were coming out, you know, I was really into Pokemon. I was probably still playing the first Pokemon game there. I might have beat it at that point, but I remember people talking about the sequel, and I even like faked like I had the sequel at one point. This must have been like a few months earlier in the year, and I was like telling this guy like, oh yeah, I've got it, or like at least a month or so beforehand, and he's like, yeah, I'm like up to Ecruteak City, and I'm just like pretending what I knew what that was. So but it's great, you know. It's fucking so good. I finally got it for Christmas that year, and I remember loving it and just playing it as much as I could. Yeah, it really was just a great evolution to the original game there, and it was pretty hype. I remember by that point a lot of people had gotten out of Pokemon, so like mostly me and my friends were the ones still into it, you know, like a couple of people, and we were really in 3rd grade. It would have been totally fine for us to like Pokemon still. Yeah, so I got it for that Christmas, and I really enjoyed it, and that's a really good game, you know. Like, that's, I don't know what much else to say about that aspect of it, but yeah, it was a really important sort of game to me, especially growing up, and I loved it. And you know, it was a classic sequel to Pokemon, the original, and this was kind of my entire journey with Pokemon for a long time, was these 2 games. And then I kind of just fell out of the series, you know? It happens. ironically enough, I was the one holding on to this series, and then, you know, I just didn't care, I guess, as when Gen 3 came out. I don't know what the fuck else, like, really overtook me at that point. I mean, I guess other Game Boy Advance games, like Golden Sun and, you know, like, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and stuff. Pokemon was just, like, for little kids at that point or some shit. I don't know. I don't think I really got into, like, a phase of that where I, like, agreed with everyone else. I always loved Pokemon, but, you know, at some point it just kind of got away from me, I think. And Gen 3 was kind of that. Sadly enough, because Gen 3 is fucking fantastic, and we're probably not going to talk about it on this series much, because I already did a review of Pokemon Emerald, and I thought that was a pretty good review, other than the audio issues. It wasn't recording through my mic there, so it's just recording through, I think, the webcam or something, so the audio is just a little bit fucked on that one. But anyway, I still think that's a great review, though. Haven't watched it in a while. Maybe I'll go back and see that. But, yeah, so Johto, you know, tons of new Pokemon. You had the 3 new starters. I like them, but realistically, Chikorita kind of sucks in terms of, like, the game and playing the game. It's not a very good Pokemon, whereas Bulbasaur was, like, good, and Squirtle, and all the original starters were pretty good, if not great, you know? I think you can make an argument for any of those, but in this game, the meta is kind of either you choose Cyndaquil, which is what I always did, because I chose Fire for, like, all of the games until, like, Gen 8 or something? Did I choose... What did I choose in Gen 8? Yeah, I didn't choose... Gen 8 is when I switched over to Grookey, so that was my first Leaf Pokemon there. On my second playthrough, I did play through with, the Cinderace, whatever the first one was called. Score Bunny, right? Anyway, so... But yeah, I was really attached to Fire. So I always chose, like, the Fire Pokemon, so I chose Cyndaquil. But this playthrough I used Totodile. Great Pokemon as well. The new Dark type and Steel types were pretty awesome. Finally I countered a Psychic, which was super powerful in the last game. I was going to get an Umbreon, because I don't usually get that one, but I decided to go with Espeon, because I already had Feraligatr, who was, like, kind of, like, part dark, you know? So, you know, I think that worked out better. My Espeon, Luna, was, like, one of the best members of my team. She had Psychic, and Shadow Ball, and then Bite, and eventually I gave her Zap Cannon at the end. She had Morning Sun for a second, but I didn't really ever use that. So I figured Zap Cannon would be a better thing, and especially against that fucking tough Blastoise in the red fight, so... really, really cool shit. I love Espeon. Espeon and Umbreon are, like, some really great evolutions. They added, like, the friendship stuff to this game, which... Yeah, you know, it's kind of a pain in the ass. I literally didn't get my Espeon until, like, fucking the end of... I think it was the Dragon Gym. I think it took that long to fucking get it, you know? The end of Johto, or might have even been, like, on the Road to the Elite Four or something. I don't know, it took a really long time to get Espeon there. But... you know, kind of a cool new addition. Like I said, the baby Pokemon were kind of cool to add new, like, pre-evolutions to all of these Pokemon that were just kind of single stage Pokemon before. So that's neat, you know. Add a little more depth there to the to some older Pokemon. And, you know, they had, like, Tyrogue and Hitmontop and stuff, so that kind of added to that line as well. I really enjoyed that they expounded upon that a little bit, so... yeah. They did a lot to expand the Pokemon world there with Johto. and I really appreciate that. And the two new legendaries, and the legendary dogs too, I mean, of course, are great. The roaming aspect was kind of shitty, but I do really like the two legendary, like the box cover legendaries. This is like the first game to do box cover legendaries too, which is neat. So, Lugia is pretty awesome. This is the first playthrough I really used Lugia, like, in the Johto region. I usually go with Ho-Oh, because, like, Gold is my favorite. And I've never actually played through the entirety of Silver, but it's very similar, obviously. It just has its exclusives and whatnot. A shiny Pokemon originally debuted in this game. Actually, when I was doing my Nuzlocke, this is the only game I've ever Nuzlocked, by the way. Pretty okay videos of mine. Maybe going back and watching them wouldn't be so terrible. Certainly some big emotional moments in that Nuzlocke. Good shit. I did complete it. That was cool as fuck. But, why was I bringing that up? When I did the Nuzlocke, something. I don't remember. Yeah, that was crazy, though. I did a Nuzlocke. I think I got Ho-Oh in that, too, and he killed, like, a bunch of my guys or something. I thought the plan was just to use the Master Ball. What did I use the Master Ball on if I didn't use it on Ho-Oh? I don't fucking know. Anyway, go watch that if you want. Yeah, I've never really completed Silver at all. But, you know, whatever. It's a very similar version exclusive. Oh, that was it. When I was playing through my Nuzlocke, when I was grinding, I accidentally killed the shiny Tentacool. It's not on the footage, but I do remember running into it, and just, my brain was so shot at that point, because I was just grinding, and, yeah, so that was, like, maybe the one shiny I've actually seen in this game, like, legitimately. But, oh, I mean, there's the red Gyarados too, but that doesn't fucking count, you know, so, but, you know, there's so many cool things, in this game. I just love all the cities, you know, the music is just also another really good soundtrack. I think Pokemon had really good soundtracks until, like, maybe Gen 4. There's probably some jams in Gen 4. I just can't think of any. Gen 4 is one of my least favorite generations. Unfortunately, that's what we're going to be doing next. I play Pokemon. So that kind of sucks. I am looking forward to going back through Black and White, because everyone always says those are really good. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to Gen 7 either, but Gen 6 would be pretty good. Yeah, anyway, and we already did Gen 8 and 9, so, God, I can't believe we did Gen 8. That was, like, a long time ago. That was one of the first videos of, like, the new, era, like, after I started making review videos again. Like, wow, it's pretty crazy. I've been doing this that long, you know, like, I mean, I've been on YouTube fucking longer, but, you know, we've been reviewing games since, like, 2019, 2018, maybe? I think at least, because, I was just watching them back, and I did that Dragon Quest, Heroes review, which is actually fucking really good, apparently. Like, what the fuck? Like, when I script videos and actually put gameplay and shit in there, it's actually really good. Like, what the fuck's that about? No, it just takes a lot of effort, and the Luigi's Mansion one was pretty good too, and then I did that Harry Potter game. I think those are the only three I did, like, fully edited after the original two NES reviews there. Anyway, this game's really good. I like all the towns. The new region is fucking awesome. And the fact that you get to go back to Kanto is just legendary. They've literally never done that again any other Pokemon game, and we've always talked about it too. Everyone is always like, "Oh man, look at this thing!" Like when Kalos came out and shit, they're like, "Oh man, look at this thing. We're probably gonna get to be able to go to this region." Or Gen 8, I think, had some kind of connection with Kalos, and they're like, "Oh man, probably DLC. We're gonna get to go to Kalos." And then like Gen 9 had the same like similar connections, and they're like, "Oh man, DLC, we're going to Kalos." It's like, you know, but they've literally never done this again outside of like the remakes. Like where there's a whole other region scaled down, but it is a whole other region like within a Pokemon game, which is just legendary that they were able to do that here. You know, it's so cool. I love that. And it makes for just good like progression and nostalgia, of course, going back to the same areas with the new lens, the new eye and stuff. So, just great, you know? All of that's great. All the gym leaders are like a lot of the types that they didn't use like before. Like they have a flying gym now, and then there's like a bug gym, and a normal gym with that fucking Miltank with Whitney there. Fucking the worst, you know? Childhood ruining it right there. A ghost gym, which was awesome. Fucking Solid Snake runs it. That's amazing. And then you have, if you go to, well, in your case it would be, wait. Yeah. No. This way, if you go, I can't, because I reversed for, like, so, if you go to the you know, the west, you get to go to Olivine City, first of all, and that's a steel gym. You know, the whole lighthouse thing, that's cool. And then you go to Cianwood City, across the sea there, and you have a fighting gym, and then if you go the other way, you get to the ice gym, and the Lake of Rage, and all of that stuff. And there's a bunch of classic, like, Team Rocket takes over the radio tower, they take over, like, the Lake of Rage, and, like, that underground facility they have there, which is really cool. And then they disband, you know? It's like, you have this rival, he's, like, Giovanni's son, like, canonically. So, and he has this, like, he's one of the better rivals. I mean, I think that you can't beat Blue or Gary or whatever you want to call him. He's kind of the best rival there's ever gonna be. But, Silver, not a bad secondary rival, you know? He's not a bad second place, I should say. He has, like, this arc of, like, wanting power with this Pokemon. He's kind of like Paul from the anime. So, I've tried to finish the anime. I'm so close. I've got, like, 30-something episodes left to go, after having watched all of it prior to that, like, a couple years ago, so. Anyway, so he's kind of like that, where he just wants power for his Pokemon, and eventually, if you, like, go and battle him again at the Elite Four, he learns. He has a Crobat, meaning that he finally learned to befriend his Pokemon there and got to evolve his Crobat. It's a nice kind of little story and a nice close to his arc there, and one of the better rivals of Pokemon ever, you know. From here on, they just kind of, they're friendly, and it's just, not that that's a problem, but it's just, you know, it's not the same, and that kind of sucks. So, yeah. Let me show off my team here. So, can't you see? There we go. Alright. So that's my Espeon, who I raised from an Eevee. Literally all of these Pokemon I got in the Ilex Forest or before, except for Eevee, who I got in Goldenrod City. So, there's the moves. And then that's my little Politoed I caught on, like, the second route or whatever, the one right after, like, Cherry Grove. Ooh, I got all of the way to a Politoed. You can't really see the Politoed because it's fucking green screen bullshit. You know, like the specific color of green. My Bell Awesome there, who I raced from an Oddish. So, oops. My starter, Mr. Feraligatr there, and yeah, pretty great. My Fortress, which is a Pokemon I've never raised, but was really cool, and I really liked that one. Rollout is Beast. Oh my god, look at the sprite for Lugia. That's fucking awesome. I love that. So good. And my awesome Lugia, who I just caught. And I had a Noctowl before that I kind of didn't really use. I just used it for Fly, mostly. But it was like level 30 something by the time we got to the League. You don't know about the League? Yeah, anyway. We'll talk about that sometime. Fuck. Oh my god, I still gotta watch that show and do it for Zura Game Club. Alright, I'll tell you what. After I get through Pokemon, I'm going and I'm gonna watch Scott Pilgrim. That's what I'm gonna do. Alright, so... the music, too. I know I've been talking about it, but it's like the boss battle themes are great. So much good stuff there. Let's see, what else? I was talking about the region. And then, of course, there's, like, the Ice Cave. And then you go to Blackthorn City, like a Dragon Gym with, like, the Dragon Den and stuff. All of that is really cool. Pretty hard gym. Kingdra. Interesting evolution to Seadra there. I'm glad they did something with that. Really cool Pokemon. And just really hard to fight there. It's really crazy. Somehow, when I was fighting Red, I know I'm jumping ahead a bit, but when I was fighting Red the first time, I got through every Pokemon except for Snorlax, and that was the last one. And then, ever since, I had, like, a bunch of trouble on, like, the other Pokemon. Like, Snorlax was tough, but what I did was I just kind of whittled them down with Fortress. I just used Rock Smash to keep taking down his defense and taking down his defense and taking down his defense. Luckily, he never slept, and I just kind of rolled through him there, which was great. So I got really fortunate with that one. As soon as I beat Snorlax, I knew I could definitely kill the rest, and I think that's exactly what happened. After that, it was Charizard and Blastoise was the last one. So yeah. Venusaur also kind of sucks because of Solar Beam, and it has Sunny Day to make that, like, always go off. But I found when I used Fortress, I have Protect on Fortress. God, I'm very glad I kept Protect. But also Fortress, it can tank a Solar Beam pretty well, because I think of the Bug type, which is great. So, not only was I able to do that, but every time it had to charge up when it wasn't Sunny Day, I knew I could just use Protect on the time that it was going to use Solar Beam, and then that would work, and then I could just heal or do whatever in between, you know, to do damage. And eventually I whittled away the Solar Beams to where I could send out a different Pokemon and just... Or like, you know, Lugia was pretty good against Solar Beams too, but like, for some reason Fortress worked really well. What sucked was the first time I fought Red there, Pikachu used Thunder on my Fortress and it just died, like, straight out. I mean, his Pikachu's like a level 81. And you think it would be really fast, but like, I set out my Espeon and it just kicked butt on that Pikachu. It would always like get it within just like an inch of death with Psychic or whatever, so that's pretty good. Espeon's great. I love Espeon. One of my favorite Pokemon for sure. So yeah, I always use that. Tough fight. One of the toughest fights in the entire franchise, the Red fight. That's why I like it so much, though. It's so good, and it's really cool. It's really well done. There's also like some semi-new teams or some new additions for Crystal in terms of Pokemon and stuff with the gym leaders and like the trainers and stuff. So that's kind of cool. I don't actually have a copy of Pokemon Crystal. I do have Pokemon Gold, but the cartridge is like really beat up. Because like it doesn't have a label. I bought like all of those games for like 20 bucks. Red and Blue and Gold from my friend Sean in like high school for like 20 bucks. So like whatever, man. Like they still work, so it's like it is what it is. Yeah, Crystal's one I should have bought like a little while ago before it got crazy in price there, but it's alright. I have them all on Virtual Console, which, is fine for now. Hopefully that's just fine forever. We're shutting down Pokemon Bank in a couple weeks or something, so that's kind of sad. But, yeah. Johto's great. It's a great region. It's a great follow-up to Kanto. You even get to go back through Kanto. And there's some changes, like Cinnabar Island is like burnt down because of the volcano. So Blade's just like off on this random cave and stuff, and a couple other things like that. It's cool to go back to that region again. I just really like Gold and Silver and Crystal there. They added the battle tower or something to Crystal, which is pretty cool. They added some events with like Suicune, and there's that one guy who like runs around trying to find Suicune and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Oh, the Celebi event, which after I caught Lugia, I got the GS ball, and then you have to wait 24 hours, and you can go catch Celebi, so that's pretty cool. I have that. I wonder if that thing can be shiny. You probably could shiny hunt that, right? I don't know. They probably shiny locked it. They always like to do that. Yeah, there's my Celebi there. Let's see if, see what it even comes with. I haven't even looked at this thing at all. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the fucking bug catching contest that, like, I kept losing it, and then my friend was just like, oh, my friend from work, just like, oh, just go and, like, save beforehand and try again, and I'm like, yeah, why the fuck did I think of that? Like, I knew that back in the day, I just wasn't really thinking about it more recently. I don't know. What else am I supposed to talk about? What did I talk about for an hour and 20-something minutes with the first game? Like, a lot of this stuff just is the same as the first game. You have, like, a lot of the similar mechanics and whatnot. I mean, it's pretty similar. They just improved a lot of stuff, made a lot of quality of life changes to the game. Like, the select button and stuff. Like, you know, that's all really cool. Held items? Yeah, that wasn't a thing in the last game, right? So that's pretty cool. There's like a bunch of held items that can like do a lot of different things. I guess it kind of sucks, like, notably there's a couple things missing from Kanto, like you can't go into the Cerulean Cave or any of that. Like that would have been a cool, like, final dungeon. What if Red was in there? Holy shit. I mean, I guess they kind of did that. They had their own little area with Mount Silver there, but, that would have almost been cool if Red was at the end of the Cerulean Cave. Oh my god, and then he has Mewtwo or something? Oh, that'd be fucking sick. Oh god, can you imagine? If I ever, like, made a ROM hack of Pokemon Crystal, I would definitely do that and, like, add that back in. Yeah. It looks better. You know, obviously it's in color now. That's, like, full color. That's kind of cool. Very good looking game, for sure, for a 8-bit console. I mean, I can't even believe they did this. Can you imagine a game like this came out on the fucking NES? Like, holy shit. Like, sort of blown people's fucking minds, you know? On the NES there. This would have been the greatest RPG on the NES. So I was thinking about the first one, too. But, like, if you could port that to the NES, that'd be, like, the greatest RPG on that system. Like, seriously. So good. I love the music so much. So yeah, anime obviously was great for Johto. It's bigger and better and more, not better, but like still great, you know. Overall, there's still some great moments there. I should have brought it down. I have the third movie. That was a good one, with Entei and all of that. I'll probably do a video about the anime at some point, like, just like a brief overview or something, because, like, fucking, I can't sit there and review every season, like, specifically because I'd have to go back and watch them, and I don't remember everything that happens, but I have enough knowledge to remember, what, you know, specifically what happened. Like, I can remember things when they come up in the show again. Like, I know who Paul is, obviously, and stuff like that. Somebody will say, oh, yeah, this thing happened. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that did happen. I kind of remember that. Yeah, for sure. I like the theme songs and stuff. Like, I'll kind of remember them. Notably with me, I actually watched the series with... I watched it, like, at 2 speed. So anytime I hear the theme song that is like slowed down, it just sounds so fucking wrong to me. And I'm sorry for anybody who grew up with those theme songs for like the later ones. Anything past like Gen 4, it's just the worst. Like that doubles. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's just a great game, and it's a great expansion to Pokemon. Every game from here on just kind of, like, isn't as good, other than, like, Gen 3 was great, you know? But they never really captured the magic of this early set of Pokemon. The trilogy, the Pokemon trilogy. I mean, honestly, that's probably it right there. It's like, the trilogy was great, and then... it just kind of falls off the rails because they're just kind of trying to make the same thing again and again and again. And, I mean, who could blame them? But also, you know, they've really fallen a long ways, so. Yeah, God, Gen 9. We'll see if they can ever bring it back. I'm so burnt out at this point on the later Pokemons. Just not great, you know? They have a lot of problems in the later games. These early games, they were simpler, but they were also just so good. And I know a lot of that, not a lot of that, some of that is nostalgia, I will say, but it doesn't mean that I don't still love these games. Oh yeah, they had like the unknowns and that, like that whole ruins and stuff. That's cool. They added a lot of areas like that are like specifically not just like a cave or something. They were the cool ruins, you know, like that's neat. There's lore all over the place in this game. That's really cool. It's really well made. And you know, you could catch all the Pokemon if you could, like, you could trade them over from Red and Blue. That was cool. You know, but then after this, you couldn't, like, trade them up, which sucked, so. Yeah, I just really enjoyed Gen 2, you know? It's another classic sort of, Pokemon game there. Let's see if we can find the epic fucking theme there. Where's it at? Come on, it's gotta be in here. So, oh, well, it'd be, like, the champion sort of theme. Let's see. Not that, but... there it is. This is just one of the greatest fucking Pokemon songs ever written. Like, the best fucking peak boss battle shit. This is, like, one of the greatest boss themes ever. you know, plays at, like, Lance, and then it plays fucking red. Oh, it's so epic! We're jamming out. Anyway, Pokemon Gold and Silver, Crystal, specifically Crystal this time. Great game, so good, so fucking good, so fucking good. The best Pokemon games, my favorite. Anyway, I love like a lot of the new Pokemon. You know, are really cool, and just it's another classic region of Pokemon. You know, it just added so much. It's still within that classic era of Pokemon. I'm just gonna start referring to it as the trilogy, the Pokemon trilogy, because everything past that, you know, just wasn't as good. So, the Pokemon trilogy, yeah, the Pokemon trilogy was the best. Back in the day, the classic era, the classic trilogy, I can call it, something like that. Amazing, you know, everything about it was great, and I just really loved it. I don't have too many fucking complaints. I can play these games anytime and have a great time. And I just love them, and they really mean a lot to me. The only Pokemon games I was ever confident enough to like go and Nuzlocke, you know, which is crazy. So like, can't believe I did that fucking shit. Yeah. Just such a great sequel. So amazing. I love it. So, you know, of course I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. That's a really good game. This is peak Pokemon right here, you know? It's like so fucking nostalgic, so good, so well done. How do you beat Gen 2, right? You do Gen 3, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Gen 3 is great as well. I just personally this is the game that means something more to me because I played it as a kid, you know. But I do really love Gen 3. I think Gen 3 mechanically and like, you know, all of that is like the best Pokemon game. But this one is my favorite Pokemon game, you know, and that's the distinction there. So, yeah, it's great. Until next time, this has been Emily, EmiNES, saying keep it classic, stick around, subscribe to join the Bad Girl Coven, and I will see you guys in the next one. Emily